Back into Talking Fitchburg in the digest, and today we're talking about the waterway cleanups that took place this past weekend. It happened on Saturday. In between the rain, folks from across our city went to 4 locations to help clear out that debris and garbage from our storm water areas.
Today is the Waterway cleanup. This is an annual event that the Resource Conservation Commission organizes to get out in 4 different waterways around the city of Fitchburg and clean up our beautiful natural spaces. I think that Fitchburg really has a legacy of environmental responsibility in a lot of different ways. Renewable energy, recycling, one of the best recycling communities in the country, great innovative stormwater projects. And this is part of it, getting the community out here, cleaning up the waterways. It shows how much Fitchburg loves its natural spaces, and we want to make our community beautiful and safe.
This area is really near and dear to my heart. This pond has only been here the last about 8 years. Before, all the stormwater for both of Red Arrow Trail and Apache Drive just drained right down into the marsh directly, right into the wetland, without any treatment. So there was trash, basically, all the way down, going into this, kind of north wetland complex. The various people like Jim Zimmerman. Jim was actually a restoration ecologist at the UW Arboretum, worked for UW-Madison. One of his goals was to really educate the public on stormwater practices, best stormwater practices. He really encouraged stormwater ponds prior to discharge into the wetlands, and so I felt really good about being able to put this pond in here. We got grants that basically paid for 100% of this particular pond. Water comes into a large storm pipe in the kind of eastern portion of the pond, and then it actually has to travel all the way over to here. There's a release structure on this far west portion, so the low flows all have to travel there. There's another pipe, if water gets up high enough, there's another pipe on the south side to let it go down into the marsh, but only after there's a pretty good amount of sediment treatment. So a lot of the sediment, all the floatables stay in the pond, so we'll probably see a fair amount of floatables. There's also signage around, that gives some public information signage around the pond that if you want to check out either as you're cleaning or after. That kind of tells a story of kind of some of the history and the background of this facility and what it's able to do, what it's not able to do. The Resource Conservation Commission started as a recycling committee for the city of Fitchburg way back in 1989, and it has metamorphosed from just solely recycling into in the early 2000s. It actually became the Resource Conservation Committee, and then later is actually a full-blown commission. So it's advisory directly to Common Council as opposed to advisory just to Public Works. So it just gives a little bit more elevation to the stormwater practices, the sustainability initiatives that the city is working on. So that group really was instrumental in getting staff to be engaged in the cleanups, and those cleanups started in the early 2000s. Have been going on ever since. This has been one of the main places that we've gathered stuff out of. There's a large pipe that comes from the city of Madison and discharges on the west side. That we've actually found televisions, electronics, little dorm refrigerators most of them were all in 1 year. And when I tracked it back up later on, found that one of the inlets that City of Madison had by now it's called Mosaic Ridge Park. One of the inlets was actually off, and somebody just decided to, rather than to take their electronics and recycle them appropriately, dump it into the inlet. So they made their way down this large diameter storm pipe, and we were able to pick them out down in the marsh, basically in the wetland area. There was an engine block that we found there. There was one shopping cart that was buried, half buried under in the sediment. So we pulled a lot of different things here. It's not as bad now. I think we've made a lot of improvements over the years. So,
our natural areas are one of the best things about Fitchburg. We have amazing parks, amazing natural areas, and I thank you all so much for coming out today and helping out. This is hopefully have a little bit of fun, and fortunately it's not raining yet, so let's go get out there.
Yeah, so stormwater obviously flows via gravity within Fitchburg. We don't have any pumped stormwater systems. Some communities do in really flat areas, but Fitchburg, everything drains by gravity. So water falls on a roof, it drains, to gutters and downspouts, and sometimes people have their downspouts that drain to their driveway and right out. So when that happens, it actually takes all the contaminants that are on the driveway, flows that right out in the street. Just simple actions like moving a person's downspout from the driveway to a grassy area really can help provide a lot of treatment, and that water basically is able to soak in right where it lands, as opposed to down into impervious areas. So we have a lot of impervious area with the various types of development that we have here in Fitchburg, and with that, anything that falls on that impervious area generally goes right into the storm system and then drains via gravity to basically the place that's lowest. One of the interesting, I mentioned the storm sewer from City of Madison. The area where Home Depot is now was actually an internally drained watershed originally. So as development occurred in the City of Madison, they basically piped, so there's a 72-inch diameter storm pipe that is 20 feet, 25 to 30 feet deep in the, kind of through what was a ridge in Fitchburg, and then drains out into Dunn's Marsh. So what was about 600 acres that used to drain to Dunn's Marsh now is 1,300 acres.
Yeah, Fitchburg is a very unique community in that we are a little bit farther outside of the central area. So we have the ability to, have these beautiful spaces and maintain them and keep them in their natural state and avoid development, because we have the space to preserve them. The natural spaces are what makes Fitchburg a unique and beautiful place to live. It's what people mention. They say the parks, they say the natural areas, they say the rural areas. These are the places that people love about living here.
It's important to do whatever you can to get stormwater to drain as close to where it lands as possible through various infiltration practices, through pervious surfaces like grass and native vegetation. Apache Pond, we actually, seeded in native vegetation and planted native vegetation, because native vegetation is more deeply rooted. It also, over time, it actually improves the soil and helps to allow that soil to take water in, as opposed to turf grass. And turf grass is certainly better than concrete sidewalk and asphalt pavement, but it doesn't soak as much water in as native vegetation. So that's one of the reasons. One of the reasons anyway for native vegetation. The other thing for native vegetation is co-benefits of habitat. So there's a lot more species of plants and animals that can live in a prairie or wetland area than what are able to survive on a turf grass lawn.
Yeah, I think we always need more people. We always need more opportunities to get people out there. But I hope that more people start following the social media, watching Fact TV, and you getting up on you can sign up for our news alerts. We have phone and email alerts that you can sign up for, including one about the green e-news, which will tell you about all that's going on in the city about green and environmental friendly things. So we love having people come out. It's absolutely the best thing to get the community involved and connected to the community. I think that's what makes a community, is getting people out and about and volunteering. And we are so excited to have people out and about. It's been fantastic to be part of the Resource Conservation Commission, and it's such a privilege to have the opportunity to do this today. I love being out here with all the great volunteers, and we hope to see you sometime in April next year.
There you have it. We want to keep those clean and keep people safe as we do each and every year. And we hope, as Gabrielle said, you'll join us in helping us out with the next cleanup next April. Take a quick break. Coming up next, we open up our guest segment. Got Tiffany Schultz in from the Better Business Bureau talking about those roofing scams. That's next right here on Talking Fitchburg.